amazing when you come into transformation communication, general AI, space-time. Don't want to leave home without it. Now, position, location, and direction is to understand where it's coming through calculation line centers. Now, there's a solar line center interference. You see that location? See? You can't see my hand. Right? It's gone. Gone. Can't see it, can you? Through light. So it's important to understand levels of travel and that sign line center interference locations, all levels. Coming in the alphabetical line connection, to understand all formation locations. Today we're going to trap the location of an XT1000 line center location, XT 30,000 line position, 1 million miles per second location per channel, time lines, time frequency, times calculation, over factor, time J line center and rotation calculations. Now we got a 0-1 track location, bracket interference location, equal line center location, all levels. Okay. Now, when you understand line center location, it comes into all positions. Mass calculation of 48 equal line center locations in position locations of window. Central communication line center. Now, it's important to understand these things because you have to understand how it compacts its all position location to calculations. Let's say you get 4 line centers of 0 location, right? Now, you compact that into all levels of a triangle communication system, right? This is how we use form lines in calculation, right? Let's see if I can open the high center interference. Position location calculations. Okay. So understanding where it's coming from is to understand at all levels of travel location, right? All right. Center line connection to equal line center locations. Now, understanding how to set the position of line center rotation interference, a position of its direct locations calculations. High channel is its line center of its compact location, right? Channel is its line center location into 0 line center, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 position location equals 12. 12 line center location is 12 million. 12 million center line center rotation calculations. All right. We'll just go through 12 million location. All right. So it centralizes its communication line string. Now, this gives you a lot more intention to its location. You know, it has so much variety, it has so much strength, it has so much command, it has so much force. It's got so much high levels through visionary line centers of cortex location to its calculations. So let's say you go through an X line equal location of Y position, a Y line center, all levels of location is a negative location, right? So this scenario standard location is X equals line of X, X over cross location, center line center location, and position of yin and yang, process line center line rotations. So Y equals all line to flux capacitor communication of vector communication system. That position location of its directions opens on levels. Now the high center line condition comes into position. So you come into this line condition, exactly what you're coming into calculation of system. It gets high and more complicated, but it's important to understand line, single pattern communication line center, in rotation system, position location of calculations of north line center locations. This is where you come into the Fahrenheit and the Celsius line in rotation calculation of the system. Position location into its console, communication line center location of its intelligence. See the intelligence? Intelligence comes in all setting recourse line channel. Now, recourse line channel is a coursing line connection. That position location to its 0 line center interference. 0, 0, 0 location in high line center location equal line center signals. All right, so we got 30,000 line communication. We go with that line center, right? There's 30,000 lines. Now, that 30,000 lines is 0 line center into vector communication to flux capacitor. Position of directions, right? Centering the line center is 0 here on location. Position of directions. 1 line center location is 0 location, the bottom line center. And we got 1 position location of 0 location on top location. Position of direction and triangulation. All right. So once you understand that line communication, it's all about understanding modulation. It's all about navigation. It's coherence, position, location, directions. Okay. So before we get started, how's everybody doing? Don't forget to wear your t-shirt. Make sure you drink your waters. especially you're in that line connection position of direction. Okay. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of lines, communication surface, X interference. There's going to be a lot of box lines, triangle force line, rotation interference. It's all calculated to modify how AI positions its direction locations, all of the interpretation units, and high line center location of zero line connection of number line sequence, position, location, direction, right? Okay, Pam, Lindsay, let's see, Don, Terry, Bond, Susan, True Light, Sam, Jill, Amby, Heather, Airbender, Johnny, Michael, Gypsy, Val, Terry, Chris, Ashley, Nova. Let's see, communications, David, Airbender, Amani. It's great to see everybody. I'm just showing you how powerful it is when you wear a t-shirt like this. It's extremely powerful. So buckle up. It's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you drink your waters. You guys are going to activation line center interference. So the projection location is all the videograph. On the videograph, you're the audience. So it's like things coming out at you. All right. So travels location XT1000, XT 18,000, XT 30,000 line position. Yeah, exactly. 3 communication line centers. All right. XT1000 line position location boxes positioning and calculations. Now the center line center rotation has its compost. That compost is its compact. It's a pressure cooker. So it's to understand how we illuminate the line center location, the crystal grid line rotation. So it's like sealments, a position of panels, communication, interference line conditions. So let's say you go through a XT line center, okay, equal locations of coil over connections of Fahrenheit equals location of Celsius. Now that position location across its string. Now you cross locations, you come into this position, all right? So it's trying to understand how to use the modulation to its console of its communication line center. It opens all communication system to time lines and interference location and calculations, right? It's complicated, right? So this is the true understanding where you have to really form what you're doing, really understand your position. So if you go in this location, let's just start with this. Okay, we'll just start with this location. It's a lot of fun when you understand what you're doing with the calculation, right? So we got 4 line centers, 4 position locations, right? 4 line centers at the top locations, right? You circle that line connection, right? And then you got 4 position locations on the bottom line rotation, right? So 4 plus 4 is 8. Okay, 8 stands in the center line communication. Center its communication to its line connections. Opens all track location to all levels into a position all levels of ground line center. There's so many different locations of all levels, how we use the circle location line centers of circle line center interference. So it directs its location. The high line center crosses its position location line connections in direction, setting signal locations of panels and high line center location all levels of 3, 6, and 9. Position location into all levels of diamond core line center interference. Indirect location to the circle line center location dimension to its position location and calculations. Opens all new channels of operation. So we usually use levels of shapes. Let's say you go through a triangle line center location of 0, 1 position. How does triangle equal 0, 1? Well, the allocate line center location is a point line center, which is all levels of alpha communication into delta communication, all levels of its energy line connections, which puts its atmosphere location calculations. Okay? Got a lot of ring in your line center. 0, 1 location in the triangulation, position of direction. Now that position location comes in the high line. So the 0 line 1 equal line center location equals 0, 0, 1 position locations, which is the communication system, right? High line center of all position locations. High interference, okay, bracket high center location in position of flux capacitor, high center location of 72. 72 line connection. Whoa, a lot of sonar. Sonar is coming in high line stream. So much communication all over. We're in the shirt location. Ground center interference in direct locations, right? So this is where we come into the isosceles. Now the isosceles triangle is a triangulation line position of program. The program position location all levels, bracket interference location into high interference. 1 line center, rotation line center, 1 equals 1, 1, position, location, direction. Now that 1, 1 line center opens up a graph location and position of directions, bracket interference line connections into 0, 0, 0, 0, track location. That track location opens all line center interference, 0 line position location, 0 line position location, and in triangulation position of direction. Center its communication. So 1 line center position, 1, 1, 1, 1. Position locations comes into a plus line. Plus line comes into all line center vector coordinate position location of satellite. Satellite comes in high line center ground interference. Indirect location of grounding location position location calculations. High channels is operation line stream. So once you get in 1, 1, 1, 1, you got 2 line center interference. So 1, 1 position location all levels comes into 2 line track, and 1, 1 position comes in another 2 line track location. 2 plus 2 equals locations of what? Doesn't equal 4 line center interference. 4,000 line position location and calculations. 4,000 channels of operation. All levels of sequence patterns. 4,000. The rotation center and interference location and calculation sets line signals. Now, understanding the line connection interference is understanding your position location to its coil, position of its resistance, Fahrenheit and Celsius communication atmosphere line center, atmospheres of memory, and programs of memory location. So your channeling line center location, let's say you go into a half moon communication line stream, in position location to the sun line communication line center, and all levels of travel location triangulation. Triangulation point line center, 3 position location to calculation, center line connections, 3 over here line center rotation, 3 line connection position. All levels of 3 line rotations, flux capacitor high system calculations, 3 channels in communication system. So you come into flux capacitor line connection. So this is a true understanding how you track the location of the moon or anything of the sun lines. It opens all communication line stream. But it's important to understand how to use line connections to this. In the center location, it gets a little bit more complicated. When you understand track line connection interference, position location of directions, center its communication to its line connection, opens all line center in rotation. So it's very powerful when you understand the optical line communication to its high line center to all levels of vector communication of the system. Timelines times frequency times calculation over pi, factor over manufacturer high line center interference. The manufacturer communication is development. That signal location to its panels that opens all line condition of 0 line position calculation. Center its communication line streams in position of directions. Center its position location, all levels of high connection. That's this, what I just finished talking through location line system. The allocate line center location is all about how to use it in opposition of patterns. Pattern communication, all levels of ground line centers. Let's say you go into the 0, 0, 1 line center, the 0, 3 locations. So you got 3 line connections right there, right? There's 3. Bring down cross line connections, all levels of ground location. Open up another ground line center interference, direction location calculations. Center communication, right? So you go from 0, 0, 0 into 3 weather patterns, into a triangle location, into a planet surface, rotation center. Now that position location box its center line near rotation calculations. That opens up new channels of operation to position. This puts position to higher levels of calculation to 0 line 0, 0 position locations, all levels of shape communication centers. High center interference. So it's very powerful when you're connecting through this. Know what it is all through form, all through letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols. It's knowing how to compact all level position locations, all level division locations. Now let's see, we go through 4 channels. Let's say we go through 4 line position locations. Even though they're all zeros, they're channels. The channels of zeros, that's what it is. So you got 0 line center rotation and vector communication, vector over pi. Vector equals over pi, communication line center. Voice grid line center and position of direction. Voice grid communication line stream to all of the ground lines in high line center and flux capacitor. Position, location, and directions. Hoo-ah. Now, knowing those signals and position and directions, where we are through calculation. All right. Okay, let's see here. All right. Floating grays are standing by to assist 60,000 travel. Okay, compute line center rotation, navigate streams. Sector, vector, line center rotation, calculation, interference. Box position of triangles, X line, center line rotations, tab, center, communication control, shift, high center, escape, position, location, directions. Code, single line centers, sectors, vectors, quadrant line center rotations, interdimensional location, and turning interference. Get them to travel location locations and an X line center location, XT 30,000 line position. There you go. Now you guys are traveling. Yeah, you guys are already traveling, but I'm just showing you how powerful it is when you come to the line center location of shape, like position location, clock line center interference. Position of directions. Why am I talking so fast? Because I'm wearing this t-shirt. Okay, I can't do this slow. It's got to be fast, right? So it's all about an extending acceleration line center. And this is where we come to all levels of Fahrenheit and Celsius. The atmosphere changes line center. So let's say we got the atmosphere location. Atmosphere and position location comes into levels. You have to learn how to do these things with location. Vector, okay, comes into flux capacitor. Downshift line center, ground line center, rotation interference. Calculate high center and interference location calculation. Bracket line center of 0, 0, 1. So what is 0, 0, 1? And is it location calculations? Direction line centers, 72. Okay, 72, right? So 72 comes down line center into rotations and calculations. 72 times 1 position location equals line center, 72,000 line communication, right? 72,000 line communication and 1 track line center interference. Now rotation line centers, equal line center locations comes into positive over negative, box position location times line. Communication system location time. It's complicated. Gets complicated. All right. So where are we through track location? Yeah, I know it's unreal. Very high system, guys. Very high system. This is way beyond recognition of anything, location awareness. But it's being aware of everything that you're seeing all through location. How you're integrating its line connections, everything to division locations, right? And everything starts making sense, right? Once you understand the calculation of system, position, location, and directions. It's amazing when you see these things, right? I know. It's pretty powerful stuff. Make sure you drink your waters. All right, so line connecting. Okay, so line equals connecting. We'll start with that. Line equals connecting. Connecting the dots, 1, 2, 3. Let's start with the dot location. 1, 2, 3. There's 3 dot line centers, okay? Now that position locations opens all triangles. Position of 3 line position, right? So open that sequence location, puts it in 3 communication centers. See? 3 communication. Down line shift into its triangulation. See how that works? It's complicated, right? Because you're trying to understand, how does this make any sense through travel? Well, it's all position location of AI and how it centralizes its communication in program setting to all levels of voice grade line center. Position of all line interference is extremely positioned to its calculation, how it overrides all levels of overdrive connection. Oh, you guys are going to have to watch this 3 or 4 times. All right. So in line connection, we can box interference. Now you got the alpha line center, you got the delta communication, right? Understand the wave central. In the line center, the beta. Okay. Omega is always in the center. Remember that. Omega is always in the center of operation communication, right? So alpha comes into delta, delta comes into beta, and beta comes into theta. Theta communication in dynamic core line center. Rotation line center equals location of Celsius. Now the Celsius comes into its Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit overcrosses signal, equal location, overcross position location, foxtrot. Ooh. Line center line rotation interference, direction locations, signals, bracket line center line conditions of 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1. Position locations, 4 portal communication line streams and position of directions, navigation. Hoo-ah! Center communication line center. So, very complicated when you connect locations on levels of teleportation units and high center and interference location and calculations. High streams, it's high line center. All levels of travel location. All right. So, are we having fun yet? So, it's truly understand how to use the alphabetical line connections. So, let's say you go through the alpha equals location of theta. Very simple. Alpha equals theta. Now, the theta comes into a box line center location into position of telepathy the interference. That's all it is. Position of directions. Now you can go into the line center, line cross location into vector equals location of velocity, velocity locations of volume. V, 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 V. All right. Center line communications opens all signal. Now, I'm showing you graph by graph by graph by graph how you come into all levels, right? So it's compacting volume, right? C equals location of volume. Line connects, right? Volume line center locations into T frame. T frame comes into all levels of flux capacitor. Flux capacitor opens all position, location, and calculations. High center is its line center location of communication, comes in the line cross line center. Vector over V line center location comes into all levels of bracket interference, position of direction. So there's so many ways how to communicate through shapes of compound line centers of volume position locations into digitalized centers. Rotation interference location and computer interference. Position of direction is all levels. Yes, exactly. The velocity location centers of line communication. Very good, Kim. So you come into vector communication. Remember, if you're getting a position location all levels of a flux capacitor, you have to have a V in position, right? It volumes, it vectors, and its velocity. Okay, so that comes into its recourse line. Now, a recourse line's location is negative over positive. Okay, negative over positive. Now it gets a lot more easier. You bracket the positive line center, you bracket the negative location, position of direction. Okay, setting signals on line center, rotation interference sets line position locations. So it comes into a line interference location to all levels of 3 positions. Top line signal. That opens all communication to circle location, circle location, circle location, 3 line connections, right? Position of directions, right? Opens all new signal location to position of direction line system. See the intelligence? Line center line rotation interference. Now, all levels of volume comes in position location. Positive over line center comes into positive location. Positive over positive in line center location activates the flux capacitor. Center communication system. Allocate timelines and streamline rotation. Box interference location calculations. So centering communication line centers is truly to understand how to communicate in all levels of volume, velocity, and everything through its flux capacitor, right? So if you understand that, you understand how it comes into all of the position location and calculations. The centering communication is all levels of U of a mega communication center. Rotation interference location, V is always at the top line because it's velocity, volume, or anything through flux capacitor. Okay, so it's coming along line center in position location of vast, V-A-S-T, vast, right? Volumes, atmosphere, systems of teleportation communication unit, line connection of interference, position location directions, flux capacitor, line channel, ground line center, and rotation interference location and calculations. High channel is its operation line stream. So setting line connections all levels of numbers and sequence patterns opens all communication line connections. It's all levels of co-creation. So you come into 0 line center in position locations, right? Line connections into 48, rotation, 0, 0, in position location is 72, and 0, 0, 0, 1 is 144. Okay, position, location, direction. Okay, so you just have to understand the 0, 1 location is a window position, right? 72 is its computer operation line, communication system. It's actually a computer location, right? And everything through 144 becomes a teleportation unit into locations, into cross location. DNA line center. Rotation interference location calculation. And obviously the 24 is line center location of the hemi, okay, the hemicycle location, position of directions, okay, hemisphere. Then you come into line center interference locations all levels. You come into the atmosphere, hemisphere, stratosphere, bioatmosphere, connecting line center atmosphere, biogenetic atmosphere, communication line centers, radium atmosphere locations, computer adaptation line centers, bioatmosphere location calculation interference location atmosphere, high channel line center and rotation calculation interference atmosphere, high channel line center locations all levels, hemisync line atmosphere location calculations, 0 run track locations, position of 48 window line rotation, 001 line center location, computer interference location of 15,000 line connections, 0001 communication 144, Chris activity stream interference location calculation north, south, and east. In position of direction is to understand how to use this all levels. But as long as you're in communication, the all line connections of 24, you are having no problem in travel recognition of time. Has to be in the 24 line center because it automatically comes into one graph location, a division. So understanding that line center, true understanding position location, all levels of direction. Now that opens all communication line center. When you come into all levels of teleportation unit line conditions, you have to learn how to use these things: rotation, center, location, position, and direction, right? Center communication, all levels of crop circle location, center communication line center, rotation, interference. Position of one center line connections, all levels, opens all communications. Now you got 3-line graph line center, rotation, interference. Sets line connections into volume communication system, timelines and time interference location calculations, high stream line center in rotation, position, location, directions. Opens all channel line center locations into all connections at 3, 6, and 9 position. 3, 6, and 9 line center comes into 12. 12 line center comes up, position location here. Position location of 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 position locations over cross line 12. 12 comes into 24. 24 into sequence pattern location calculations. Collecting line channels of information. So center line communication is all levels how you sequence patterns. Coming in that line stream, put you all levels in communication. Yes, all level line centers. So inner line, it's rotation interference. Now you get an X line, okay? There's so many interpretation line communication. So you get an X line communication, right? There's an X line, right? Here's an XT, okay? Here is a X line center, okay? These are all teleportation units. So the X line center location is an XT 1,000 line communication, right? That opens all communication. 1,000 line channels. 1,000 line channels. 30 location in position of direction, right? Now you got the XT line center. The rotation goes from 1,000 line center to 1,000 location. So 1,000 plus line to 8 line center in rotation calculations, right? So 1,000, 8,000. And then you got the X line center. The X line center comes into all levels of mega communication. Higher formation location of an XT 1,000 line comes in higher line position locations into all levels. Plus equals over. Plus equals over. Anything over line center location comes in higher line center rotations and position. And this line center comes in XT 30,000 line. So an XT 1,000 line connection. Okay, XT equals 30,000. All right, so let's say you're going through line communication, the alpha line center. Alpha communication comes into bracket line center equals 0, 0, 1. So you're picking up locations to what? High channel locations into 72 line centers. See, 72 line center, 0, 0, 1. Line center rotations, now you can downshift into 40 communication. You can balance line center negative over position plus line in locations into 24 signals. Position, location, and direction. Wow. So it gets more complicated when you understand line connection, right? To understand your position, location, is its formation. So let's say you form line center of 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, okay, into one complete box location, right? Circle line centers. Everything is compact with all line connected teleportation units, right? Center communication of triangle line center. Merkabah communication. Teleportation of line streams. High line center rotation interference. Center its communication travels line centers. Rotation line position. All levels location and coloration pattern. Rotation line system. Position location and directions. Centering communication triangles. All right. All levels box force line connection. Position and directions. Flux capacitor. High channel. Position, location, modulation, gauges, and all levels of console communication. All right. So there's a lot to understand when you're going through navigation, right? Navigation lights, navigation equals lights, right? So navigation crosses stream locations into vector communication equals volume, okay? Now, volume comes into lines of level line, center line in rotations, comes into levels of a whole level of position location, right? So that centralizes the end line center, okay? So it's all about understanding new console communication. New equals console, right? So this is all about understanding how you come into the escape line into new geometry interference. Console communication, right? So It's so important how you use letters, numbers, and shapes to travel line center. So it's kind of like a UPS delivering a package. Well, we do the same thing, but we do a position location of pressure. And it's like wrapping paper around, saran wrap, but we do it through number sequence. So this is a triangulation right here. These are all zeros, but it's all compacted in position location of directions. And this is how we centerline its communication system. All zeros. So it comes into triangulation, longitude, okay, and latitude line center. Now that position location all wolves, open line signal, down cross location. All right. Position location comes into the circle line center and dimensional line center in rotation center. In rotation interference, we take the zero line position location in direction to the right position location of its dimensional line system. That allocates timelines into new measure of communication at dimensional setting. Hoo-ah. Center communication, all levels of compact of its information of zero line connection. All right. So position of direction. Now position location, position equals direction. Direction equals over line cross. Okay. Line center interference of position locations. Line cross line center, X line center location, cross line center, cross line center, cross line center, cross line center, line communication, right? All levels of position line connections to its division location comes into its triangulation. So what I'm doing is basically your line communication is extremely important, but understanding how to compact all levels of letters, numbers, and shapes. It's like delivering something, right? So it's in compact, okay? It's all in volume. It's all in position of velocity, a flux capacitor. So if you understand that position, location, and calculations, then you understand the teleportation units and how it rides and overdrives and overexcels line, center line, rotation, interference of teleportation communication system times line times pi times calculation over line connections, factor over pi. So your position, location, and direction is truly understand how to engage. Yes, exactly, JP. How to engage your console of modification string. Your position of direction is truly understand how to understand line connection, right? Line connection is everything. Line connecting to everything, all through triangulation, all through triangulation, all through triangulation in position location, right? So, but it's truly understand how this works. You can bracket here equal location of bracket, bracket line center location in a triangle, triangle location in a 0, 0, 1. Line connections, all levels, X line center location, velocity, position location calculation, right? So this truly standing is that I don't have to add the numbers in because it's already there. But if you have to see it, that's totally fine. So you come into 0 line 1, okay? That position location is on line to 48. 48 goes on top location. 48 over 0, 1. Equal line center locations coming into all volume position locations into an X line center, okay, into triangulation of 0, 0, 1, which is position location into downshift line center of position locations of 72. 72 location line systems. So that brackets its interference back into one division location. You bracket its center in line connections, all right? Right here, bracketed center, right? Centuries to look at these things, right? Look at how powerful that is through connection. So telepathy comes in so many ways and forms. Understanding how to use the zero line center rotation interference, box position times calculation times pi, line center line rotation interference. You can also go through general AI space-time. So the genetic line center in energy line rotation, neutral light communications, energy to form into all levels, reminder communication, atmospheres of levels. Now, the atmosphere location of its information is space line communication and perception. The high lines of its atom is communication of its energy line, which is time line of intelligent location of metric interference of its energy line communication, general AI space-time, all levels of an XT 30,000 line connection. Wow. So understanding line connection is extremely important. Line connection, right? It all forms its position location when you come to the high line centers. So you go on a Fibonacci line swirl. There's a Fibonacci, all right? Fibonacci equals location into line center location. I really want you guys to understand how to use the 24, 48, 72, and 144 first before you go into the 0001, 0002, 0003. Okay? So you got a Fibonacci equal location line center line connection of position location of 48 window, 40 equals 72 line communication of computer frame line center inference. That opens all communication into 001 location, high center line rotation, equal line connections, plus over channel communication system, position and direction, right? So I know it's unbelievable when you set these course lines up, line and rotation inference. So it's kind of like code lining, code description, encryption line and rotation over Fox line conditions, trot line, inner line rotations, echo Euler 1, zebra force. So many levels of travel locations, right? But I love the fact that you can use the delta communication, delta equals line center location of 0, 0, right? So it doesn't have to be 001. It can be 0. So 0 is position of 1, right? So that's a ground line center, okay? In position locations equals ground, okay? Equals ground, right? Now, this gets complicated because now, complicated, that's funny. All right, so we got 3 line position location to directions. Remember, there's 3 line centers, right? 1, 2, 3. 1 position location up, 1 center position, and 1 low cross line center, rotation inference. Now that directs its line center locations. This puts position location of different direct location of travels of atmosphere lines into its position. How to channelize center location is its delta communication line center of 0, of track location of 1, position and direction. So how are we doing so far? Oh boy. I have a cape, Superwoman, whoosh. Oh, that's good. Sure, I'm on a whole new level of seeing the grid. What an amazing line you hold. Grateful for you. Well, that's good. Growing roots, grounds, nets upwards. It's above, below, 144 stable. Yeah, so it's really connecting to your number sequence, number patterns, another rhythm, locations, calculations over volume, volume over vector, vector over cross, cross over stream. So it's true to understand how you get a little bit more formative and how to communicate to all levels of frequency, location, and calculations, right? Center line connection, right? So it's really understanding how to use your AI line center. So you got an AI line center, okay, AI line center rotation. So this comes into all position location of volume. Okay, volume goes right here, right? So that crosses down line center rotation of line connection into all levels of ground location. Ground comes in position. Okay, ground level. Okay, so this is how you integrate locations. Center equal line center in position locations of track location of sonar. Sonar comes in line center interference in position locations into beta communication. Beta communication comes into all levels of operation. Okay, line signals down line center sets line position locations of times pi. Calculation of interference opens all line operation of a communication into its intelligence of its operation signal. Rotation interference to calculation. So there's so many ways you can communicate through its awareness of its information. So universe is wide open, able and willing to receive all calculations, locations, while understanding deep universe. Yeah, this goes way beyond. All right. So you guys are coming into almost 40 line connections. All right. So let's say that you got 40 communications of timeline. Okay. So dot line center interference. Okay. So that line the interference locations into vector. Okay. That's how I'm reading timeline. You're not into 40 yet, but you soon will be. Flux capacitor line rotation interference. Now let's say it's got position locations coming into 40 communication right there. Boom. Ground center line rotation interference. Direction location is 0 line rotation in direction. right? So it channels line center, and it's true to stand that when you're using your clocking system, you know exactly what you're doing through your vibration location. It's open and line center location of 0 and position of 0 location line conditions. It's all levels of line center in the line position locations of navigation. Right? See the navigation location. Right? How to use it is extremely powerful because it consoles in so many modification circles. Now, you got a circle line interference location of box position location on line center, direct location into line rotation, 2 position, 3 position, 1 position. It's all through communication, right? Center line connections. This is a true understanding is that when we ship things out, it's true understanding how to calculate the modified line center over vector over connections of velocity and position the location of flux capacitor. VVVV. Now, the V-line center comes into center line rotation interference, opens all communication to its satellite center, so that's sonar line rotation calculation system, echo chambers of communication. So there's so many levels. To understand the intelligence is to understand you inside the line, inside line, inside here, inside, not outside. Inside, not outside. Here, not here. So anything open position location is this. Comes into all levels. You're working from inside out. And then when you go from inside out, you come from outside in location to everything through all levels of co-creation. Okay? Line graph, line center, road graph location, walkway center, open up portal communication system. Ooh-ah. Center line connections, security measures, position of portal, circle line center rotation, center communication into levels of position. Right? So there's so many ways to travel through code signals, code reference, code channels. So if you're using anything for code lines, use code reference, just like you do with the 12, right? Your 12 line centers are off interference. You only use 12 as a reference because you're always in a 24 position location of balance. Because if you're not in balance, you're offline center location of 12. The position locations comes into 12 plus 12 equals 24 line center, but 24 equals location is 24 million positions, direct location. Right? So it's all about understanding how fast you go through acceleration, times frequency, times calculation, times pi, line interference, direct line center. So as long as you understand 24 is the ground line of left and right, okay? It's the hemisync. Okay? SYNC, the hemisync. Okay? Comes to the higher levels, line inner rotations to automatic equals view, position location of volume, right? So line connection levels is Fahrenheit. Line center interference is Celsius communication system. Line strip down in rotation line connection. Right? There's so many levels of communication. So center line communication of box. Box equals vector. Vector over cross and line center rotations equal location into X. X equals line connection levels in position location to XT1000 line connections. Circle location position. So it's a lot of fun when you understand travel through units. There's so many line centers, and then you go to orbits. Orbit. I'm not going to get more into that because it's too complicated. Orbit. Hey, complicated. It's funny. Orbit, right? Orbit channels, orbit communication, theta operating. So you got a box line center, TV reception locations. There's a box channel. Now that box channel has 3 waving line centers, rotation interference, waving signals, right? You got the alpha line center, you got the delta wave communication, and you got the theta line communication center through box position. Ooh-ah, all through operation. Now that's a TV line signal. Now the line center rotation opens all communication stream. Center its communication to levels of vector cross location. Center line center rotation into its flux capacitor. flux capacitor. Line communication to its orbit sets line channels of operation. 2, its reminder. 2, its balance. 2, its intelligence of telewaving communication. So you have to truly understand how to use the alphabetical line connections. Let's say you get 26. 26 equals alpha line. Okay, there's the line center. 26 equals alpha line. That line communication comes into a T-line center. T-force line communication. 2-point dot center line in rotation calculation system, right? Center its line connections. Cross its streams line center in all line center. So you got north line center, you got east position, you got west line connection, you got south. Position all levels of navigation. Hoo-ah. All through 26 lines. 26 equal location. 26 equals 26,000 line. Okay, of alphabetical stream locations of north or south and east. Done by equation. So, and this works once you understand what you're doing. It's all communication in line, all levels of inside location, right? So once you understand that line, you understand this position where it comes in all calculations. It's important to understand these things because it travels on so many line connection. Position, location, and calculations. Center its connection lines. Sequence its patterns in line center interference. Position, location, and directions, right? Now, when you go to higher level system, you can go into higher levels of sequence patterns. This position, location, of its directions. Center its line center, location, and position. Opens all triangulation. Position, location, navigation. Navigation equals over cross line over drive. Okay. Now, when you're crossing line streams, you got to make sure that you're in positive over negative, not negative over positive, because you're line connecting and you're vortex communication. Vortex equals communication. Hoo-ah. All through triangulation. So it's amazing when you understand all levels of sequence, line center locations, hemisync, hindline channel, line rotation interference, calculation. I haven't even got started with the galaxies yet. All right, this is just number patterns, number sequence location. This is conforming. So this is compacting shapes. Shapes equals volume. Volume equals velocity. Velocity equals locations of compact communication. Center line connections, setting graph line streams in rotation line positions, all levels of calculation. Simultaneously, line graph interference, 3-line position location calculation. So it's amazing how your universe sets lines and how it communicates your data stream line rotation. Vortex by cortex, yeah. That's pretty informative, yeah. So you get a vortex equals cortex. Now that's a visionary line. That opens up all levels of theta communication system. Times lines in position. There it is. Okay. Vortex over communication, theta over line center location, cross signal line centers of box TV. Ooh-ah. Position, location, direction. Anything you give me, no problem. So it's center lines. Center line of anything through shape formation is position of its alpha line communication, delta line signals, beta communication streams, omega of center operation, right? Of theta information. So theta waves, delta waves, beta waves, omega waves, anything through channel is truly standard levels of communication of travel locations, guys. Right? You just have to understand how to compact all this. So when you get to 0 locations, it gets much easier. And it comes into really high position of channel. See? See all that? This calculates modifies line center line rotation interference. I'm going to do this extremely fast in position location calculations. Center communication line center interference, direction locations, high channel line center position location calculations, high line center rotation interference. Ooh-ah. He's like, what's he doing? So, in line center location is direction location of airlines. Downshift locations, up cross line center interference, 3-line positions. right? So this is all in triangulation, compact through numbers. So you can go through line, center line, interference. These are all different clockings that you're not aware of. This is a clocking locations. You guys only know 24, 48, 72, 144, but what you don't know is what's beyond. Center line communication. This is one position of clocking right here. This is a clocking location right here, right? Topping signal, line, center, rotation, interference. Position location of vector line cross. Position location of X line center. Line center comes into flux capacitor. Position location directions. Centering communication, center line centers, all dimensional, all levels across circle. Center line communication to center line center rotations into dimensional line centers of cross signals. Location of dimension. Now, the X line center comes into all levels in XD. Let's say XD 1000 line interference sets line communications, right? So we go through line connections in position and directions. We downshift line communication into time frame. So this opens up new channel of communication. See, it opens up the channel. So when it opens up a new channel, we uprise line center in 3, 4 position location and calculations. So this comes into 4,000 line communication. 1, 2, 3. Okay, or you go to 4 million position location and directions. Hoo-ah. Try to understand that through travel. This is all through time frame. All through zeros and ones. This is a clock. Because this is a graph of a walkway location. Woo! Of a pyramid. Yeah. So so if you understand what's going on with your sequence power locations or anything line connection, you have to truly understand how to use it through its equation. It's a lot of fun when you understand how to put your numbers together in all formation, but it's got to be compact, right? Once you compact these things, it gets much easier, right? So, all right. Taking you out of track locations of zero line centers and number and sequence locations, put you guys back on the ground perception. You're back. See how that works? Ooh-ah. I hope you guys had fun. You know, everything I'm saying is like, okay, how does he do this? You know, it's all position, location, and travel, line, center, location, and mind. Position, location, directions, right? Big thing, location calculations. So this centralizes its energy graph, location, hologram structure. Once you get in a hologram structure, it gets much easier when you're understanding clocking locations, right? But right now you concentrate on 24, 48, 72, 144, because that's all you know. You don't know anything else because you don't understand how to line connect your hologram structure location to its division of its program setting. So it's very powerful when you connect more lines, right? I know, eh? No, you're extremely welcome. This is probably the biggest communication interference location and calculations through AI connection. All right. If I go anything beyond that, I'll just way too much. Right? So you take what you can take, true stand the position locations. Start with small lines. Small line communication. There's a small line, right? That's not a 1, that's a small line. Small line equals location of volume. All right, that's volume. Volume over velocity, okay, equals line connections in position to its triangle line interference. So point line center rotations, point line center rotation, point line center rotation position, 3 line communications, right? Center line connections into a diamond core line center rotation, right? Coming into all levels, a diamond core line center. Rotation interference. Now this vector across its line center equals line center location comes into an X equals T position. High channel line center interference. Graph line streamline center interference locates an in-line center rotation to your positions to all connections to your spline communication system. Hoo-ah. Complicated, isn't it? So, yeah, I'm glad you had fun, Val. To everyone, you never disappoint. It comes through like magic music. Why? Because vibes love you so much. Yeah, I know. Amazing class. Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I don't want to go beyond that because you're already mind blown as it is. Take time. True to stand, study small lines, and get into higher levels of communication line interference. Position its program setting in calculation of the system of all levels. Right. So it's important how not just to draw, not just to travel, but to understand the mind. The mind comes everything location equals location of everything through the eye conditions. Mind. Mind over matter. Matter over mind. Which your mind doesn't matter. You got in that calculation before. But the mind concepts line, center line, in rotation, everything through its position location of its on-line center interference, location of its connections, high system, position of direction line system to its cloud. Ooh-ah. All right. So, yeah, I know it's a lot going on. So I'll see you guys on live. All right. Friday, we have a test coming up. All right. So you guys are coming into different divergent lines. You're going to come into your dimensions, your interdimensions, your galactics, your intergalactics, and locations of AI tech. Friday morning, right? So we'll get into that provision location, get you guys in your energy light centers, program setting, calculation line center interference of position locations at 24, 48 window, 72 computer, and 144 crystal activation. See you later. Adios.